Hi, I'm Sarah. This is the third tutorial for a three-part series for working towards King Pigeon. So just to remember before you go into this, you know, if you don't feel ready for King Pigeon is a really advanced posture. Just continue doing 1 and 2 and opening the body until it feels ready. Otherwise you can use props, you can use a strap and things to help make it more accessible, but being super mindful not to just try and pull yourself into an advanced asana just because you really want to. Always listening to your body and does this serve me? It's not worth injuring yourself just for the sake of getting into a posture short term. Kind of, if you build the blocks of a strong foundation, of a strong practice, then maybe when you do get into the posture, it's further down the road than you wanted, but it will feel good. You know, these postures should feel good. You should feel ready for them. So we'll just start in downward facing dog. So if you're just joining us now, this is kind of a sequence that will lead us through conditioning of the back and the hamstrings, and then working through the flexibility of the back. And if you have already done 1 and 2, you have already been conditioning the glutes and the hamstrings and the shoulders. We've worked through a dynamic flow and now we're meeting here. So from here, press down into the palms broadly. Step your feet 1 step closer towards the hands. You're in a short dog. Bend the knees, drop the heels to the right and your bum towards the heels to a twist. And then come through the center, come to the other side. We'll just do 2 more on each side. So just be really intuitive. There's kind of no right or wrong way to do this. This isn't even really essentially a real asana. It's just a really nice way to alleviate any tension from the lower back and to stretch through the sides of the waist and the fronts of the shoulders. Make this your last one on the right side. And then press into your hands, drop your right shin, and then lengthen your left leg into gate pose. Press into your right hand, take the left arm up and over the left ear. And then again, the same as when we do these extended side angle pose, ground down through the outer edge of your left foot. Press down into your right hand, lift out the right armpit, and then twist and rotate. So the left shoulder is directly on top of the left, and we telescope the rib cage broadly forwards. Lengthen through the neck. Take a big breath. Use the inhale. And as you exhale, lift yourself up. Left arm down, left thigh, right arm over right ear. Breathe into the sides of the waist. Just soften through the mouth. Good. Keep the belly drawn in. And then 1 breath each side. Inhale, right arm down, left arm over. And then contract, left arm down, right arm over. Good, continue 3 more like this, just using the breath to find that fluidity between the breath and the posture. So this is our vinyasa essentially. So we use the term vinyasa to describe a pattern of movements, but essentially it just means from Sanskrit, kind of marriage of action and breath. It's a really great way of warming up, and it's a really great way of coming and arriving in the body. Good, make this the last one. Reach yourself up. And then open the arms wide into a T. Take the hands behind your ears or clasp them behind your neck, whichever feels comfortable. Lengthen, contract the belly, anchor the tailbone. And then we'll do the same action, but just using the obliques, so the sides of the waist. So you inhale to lift up, and then exhale, left elbow. Try to feel like the elbows are pressing back. Inhale, lift. And then over to the right. So don't worry about how deep you go. Think about contracting your abdomen and using your obliques. Do 4 more each side. Good. Try to maintain the integrity of the breath and also maintain the integrity of the spine. So don't jeopardize the safety or the comfort of the spine just to feel like you're getting your elbow further to the knee or the ground. So don't allow your asanas, your postures become ego-driven. Allow them to move in a compassionate way, what really feels good. Keep the integrity and the integration of the entirety of the body. 1 more each side. Good, making this side the last one. As you bring your right elbow all the way down towards your right hip. And then contract, lift the arms, come back downward facing dog. Good, and you can just slide forwards and back from plank to down dog a couple of goes just to kind of resync through the back body and kind of rebalance, recalibrate, and then we'll meet back in downward dog. And then this time, bending your knees deeply to drop the feet to the left, drop your hips, and then drop down onto your left shin this time. Raise, take the right arm up and over, good. And then come into gate pose, good. Reach that fingers all the way away from the foot. And then really try to keep your hips stacked. Pull the belly in and pull your pubic bone towards the toes and your tailbone towards the back heel. Lift out the left armpit, take a big breath, and then lift yourself up, take the right arm down your right thigh, left arm up and over left ear. Continue to feel the sensation as though the rib cage was hugging forwards towards the intersection of the muscle walls and towards the middle of your spine, so that the ribs don't broaden and just flare out. You pull them in and integrate the muscles of the belly. Good, one breath each side, left arm down, right arm over. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, contract, lift yourself all the way up and lift. Good. And then continue, just move like this. Find that vinyasa, that joy of moving with breath. Try to remain with this softness to the jaw, so try not to clench the teeth or become too taut in the neck or the mouth area. So there's particularly now a lot of scientific studies that are really kind of confirming what yogis have been saying for thousands of years, that this relationship between the jaw and the hips is really important. So the more that we clench our teeth, the more that sometimes we clench our hips. So we really want to find a softness in both. Lift yourself up, take the hands to the back of the ears or behind the head. Contract the belly. And then start with your right elbow coming towards your right knee. Keep the elbows pressing back and the shoulders square, good. And then contract to the middle, and then left, good. And then just continue. And then again, the sides might feel different. The body's asymmetric. One side is usually more dominant and then usually stronger. One side is not as strong and usually more flexible, which sometimes corresponds to whether you're right or left-handed. So I am right-handed and stronger on my right side. Obviously, I've always been leading with my right, but then more flexible on my left. So you just have to accept the sides for what they are. Good, do 2 more on each side. Good, making this left side the last. And contracting your belly, lifting up, right side the last. And then windmill your hands either side of the left shin, step back, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift up through the hips, find that length, and maybe roll back and forth through your spine if that feels good. Or you can just hang in down dog. You can always come to child's pose as well. I don't ever give options for child's pose here or in class, but they're always there for you. Then slide forwards to a plank position, shoulders over wrists. Kick your heels firmly back. Lengthen through the tailbone, take a big breath, and then lift back up, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend your right leg, 3-legged dog. Draw your right knee towards your right only nose. And then step the foot between the hands. Look forwards, drop to the sole of your left foot like you were coming to warrior 2, and turn your right toes towards the front left corner of your mat. Right hand inside a right foot, Skandasana, so this is a surfer lunge. Drop down through your hips and then just allow yourself to come all the way down. Good, take your left hand to your right knee and then take your right arm up and over, stretch through the side of the waist. And then again, don't worry about how far the arm comes, just find wherever feels the most beneficial for your flexibility, for your body. You're always welcome to use a strap also, that can be really beneficial, just to help the hand find the fat. Otherwise, you can rotate the left ribs under your right, ground down, Padabandha, right foot. Keep pressing down through that right hip, it will lift, that's fine. But just energetically press it away so you find this traction in the side waist. Then grow the crown of the head long. Remember, like the skin of a drum. Take a big breath. These side muscles, these intercostal muscles are so important for our back bending, so that when we do back bend, that we open through the 3-dimensional space that is the trunk, that we use every single corner of the body. Good, lift yourself up, bring your right foot this time into your left thigh, move into our second variation of our side twist. Take the left hand to the right shin. And then twist again, take your right arm over the ear. And everyone might feel a little bit different here. You might feel that this is a more comfortable side bend for you. Maybe it feels more awkward, that's fine. Try not to get too attached to the postures. You know, it's really easy to come onto our mats and be like, this is my favorite, this is my worst, I like this is my good side, this is my bad side. Try to not become attached to any of the labels, that this is just your practice, that some of it will feel different to others. Just accept all the sensations that occur and just let them be. Gently lift yourself up onto your sit bones. And then extend your left leg directly forward, still keeping your right foot in the left thigh. Keep the hips square, take a big breath, reach the arms up, look to the thumbs, and then exhale, fold yourself forwards over the front leg. Again, you're welcome to use a strap. You're welcome to bring your knee deeply bent, or you're welcome to bring the arms forwards. Letty here is quite flexible. She can actually reach her arms forwards and take hold of her left wrist with her right hand. Grow the crown of the head forwards. Try to lengthen your right side waist as much as the left. And then just drop your head down into the darkness of the shin. Ground down through the sit bones. Feel that traction as you grow the mid belly away from the pubic bone and the shoulders away from the chest. Good, gently lift yourself up. We'll come into double pigeon. So you'll bend the left shin directly on top of the right. Some people this does not feel good. Nothing to do with your flexibility, just to do with the alignment of your anatomy. And some people instead, you might just tap your left ankle underneath your right knee, coming into Skandasana, into Sukhasana. Yeah, exactly like this. And this might feel good as well. So you can explore both variations, both options, wherever you are. Lengthen yourself forwards and grow down to the earth. And if you are in this variation, if you've come into Sukhasana cross-legged instead, you come down and you're like, I don't really feel that stretch, so you can come back up and stack your shins. Even if the shins do not directly touch and there is a large gap, that's absolutely fine. It really doesn't matter. As long as the feet are flexed, that's all that really matters, to keep the integrity and the safety of this knee by using the activation of the shin bone and the muscles around. And just try to breathe into that space that is available. Whenever you become faced with this sense of resistance, maybe this irritation, a space that doesn't feel maybe that comfortable, rather than pushing back or forcing through just as bad, try to focus on the sensation, not attaching good or bad to it, and breathing into that area. So rather than resisting it, we move into that space with compassion and breathe deeply into the space. So that maybe we can take that resistance and create this resilience instead, make it work for us. How can I make this discomfort beneficial? How can I grow from this experience? Gently look forwards. Release your legs. Any way that's possible, make your way into frog posture. So opening the knees wide. If you need additional padding underneath your knees, some knees can be super sensitive and that's fine. You can bring pillows underneath. Bring your feet so they're at least in line with your knees or wider. And then grow the belly button forwards. And then from here, either on your hands or forearms, move as though you're moving through cat-cow. So arch, and then anchor down and round. All the way up. Good. Really find that exaggeration. It's super hard. Good. And then roll. And then just move up and down through your pelvis. And we'll just move through 5 like this. And again, this is going to be really intuitive. It's going to look and feel different for every single person that does it. So just move in a way that helps you feel as though you are digging a little bit deeper in towards the hip flexor, the groin, the adductors, this whole area within our inner thighs. And then when you're ready, come back to a neutral position. Stay on your hands or your forearms. Take a sense of surrender. And allow yourself to feel as though you are softening into the space. Try not to push or force or resist. There is a huge amount of strength that comes with surrender. It is sometimes more difficult to let go than it is to push. Try to bring your full awareness to the breath so that it moves with equality. The inhalation and the exhalation moves with this equal amount of sound and duration. Press into your hands anywhere that feels good. Lifting yourself up, coming onto your shins, just take a breath. Good. And then making your way into downward facing dog, anywhere that feels good. Tucking the toes, lifting up, and then slide forwards to a plank position. Drop your knees, bend your elbows, chest to earth. Slide onto your belly, hands behind you, interlace the fingers, come up into Locust, reaching the knuckles back to the heels. Take a big breath, release your hands, sit bones to heels, reach the arms behind you into baby camel. Squeeze the elbow heads back, arch through your back. And then release, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot again between the hands. Look forwards. Come onto the sole of your left foot again. Turn your right toes in, come back, Skandasana. This time hold, keep the hips just lifted off the ground a little. You might even want to explore bringing the thumbs to the sternum and balancing, or just keep the hands down, it really doesn't matter. Kick the left heel firmly away from you. For some of you, it might feel like you're on like 2 feet off the ground, and that's fine. Slow motion, maybe with or without your hands, challenge yourself. Bend the left knee, come into Skandasana onto the other side. Good, stay here. Keep the hips lifted. Soften through your mouth. Feel this sensation of just being here now before dropping down onto your sit bones. Take hold of your left shin with your right hand. Take your left arm up and over your left ear towards the right foot. And again, just acknowledge that the sides might feel different. Don't attach good or bad to either. It is just what it is. Wherever you are, grow the crown of the head long, ground the toes long, and ground down through the left hip and the left foot. That may we begin from the axis of the pelvis and then feel as though we're growing broadly from this bowl almost, this bowl that tips back and forward. That we grow the extremities from here and become broader. Lift yourself gently up. Bring the left foot into the right thigh. Second variation, take hold of the left knee with your right hand, take your left arm up and over the ear. Extend through the side of the waist. Slide your right shoulder forwards. And again, you can always use a strap if that feels better for you. And again, don't worry, even without a strap, if your arm feels 2 feet away from the foot, then that's fine too. Every practitioner, regardless of their flexibility, should feel as though they are getting the same stretch. And we'll just take a different variation of that stretch in order to get it. So if your hand is 2 feet away from your foot, or whether you've grabbed hold of the foot with or without the strap, you should still feel the same deep stretch in your side waist. And you want to be working at like maximum 75%. Never bypass that edge. Good, lift yourself up, straighten your right leg, take it forwards. Pressing the left foot into your right thigh. Flex the foot, take a big breath, reach the arms high. And then exhale, fold yourself forwards. Reach the crown of the head firmly towards the big toe and lengthen the skin of your belly forward. Kick the heel, soften your mouth, and then lengthen through the side waist. Pull the hip bone back. Contract through your belly. And again, you can either use a strap, you can bend your right knee, or you can take hold of your wrist like Letty has here. Everyone's going to look a little bit different. The sides are going to feel really different too, and that's fine. Good, gently lift yourself up. Crossing your right shin either on top of your left into double pigeon. And again, don't worry if there's this big gap between the foot and the knee, it's no big deal. As long as the heels are flexed so that the shin bones are engaged, the knees will be nice and safe. If this does not feel appropriate at all, you just drop the right ankle under the left knee and that's fine too. Wherever you are, stay either upright or fold forwards, depending on what feels the best. You want to feel this nice big stretch in your outer hip. can be pretty intense for some bodies. So just checking in, how does this feel? Does this feel good? Is this serving me? There's no need to push. You know, this is one of these postures you see people that have been practicing yoga for years and they can't cross their shins, and someone else will just get onto the mat for the first time and their shins are crossed and their forehead is down. It's just amazing to see different bodies and just different capacities. So don't try to compare yourself to anyone else's, because sometimes there's just no correlation. It's just, wow, that's what your body can do. That's great. Gently lift yourself up. We'll come into double hero. So you might want to lean yourself forward just so you've got more mat space. You'll come onto your shins. You'll bring your kneecaps together, but the feet as wide as your hips or your mat. And then bring the flesh out from your calves as you roll down onto your back. So for some of you, this is going to feel really deep, and you'll be sitting on a brick or maybe on a pillow. And Letty here obviously is feeling quite flexible in her front body and her quads and her hips, and she can come down. Try to keep the knees at least hip distance apart. You will feel stretch in your knees, but you don't want to feel any pain. Any pain at all, you come straight out. You only get one pair of knees, so try not to underappreciate them, because you'll be sorry when they're gone. And then feel that you can extend your ankles again. So often in this pose, the thing that people most complain about is the stretch at the front of the ankles, because they're not used to the flexion of the front of the foot. Unless it's really uncomfortable, then just know that with time it will become more flexible and it will feel more comfortable. If obviously it's painful, then you bring yourself out. We're actually interested here in this front stretch of the hip flexor and the quad, and this natural arch in the lower back that we want to encourage. Good. Using the strength of your belly, lift yourself up if you were down, and then make your way into downward facing dog. Just moving from down dog to a plank position. And then either dropping your knees or keeping your knees lifted if you feel strong enough. Bend your elbows slowly, bringing yourself all the way down with control. Good. Come down onto your forearms, come into Sphinx. Look forwards, press into the hands, extend the sternum bone forwards. So if you've been with us from the beginning, we did Sphinx in the first video, and it might feel a lot different now than it did at the beginning, and hopefully different as in more open and more expansive, not different as in worse. And then from here, press down into your forearms, and then bend your right knee, and then take your right arm back and take hold of the foot. Bring the heel in towards the bum into frog. Some of us might feel flexible enough to turn the fingers forwards and then get this additional stretch in the shoulder. Try to keep the shoulder square. You might even want to press into your left hand and lift your left elbow, but only if that feels good. Then you really want to extend through the knee and soften through the mass. Good. Taking your hand to the ankle now. Press into the left hand and then kick back as if you were coming into half bow pose. Contract. Some of you might even be able to lift that right thigh. Some of you might even be able to lift the left arm, into a balance. Good. And then become expansive. Grow long from foot to finger. One more big breath, belly engaged. Slow motion, drop your left hand down. Slow motion, drop the right thigh down. Unravel the right leg from the left hand grip, and then turn that right hand to grab the left thigh. Walk the fingertips towards the kneecap, and then again lift the chest. Find that twist and a slight back bend. Maybe hover the left arm, but only if that feels good. Good. Keep the belly lifting. Good. Soften through the mouth. One more big breath. Good, and then gently come back to the center. Come down into Sphinx, bend the elbows, recalibrate, start over. This time, pressing into your right hand. Take your left arm behind you, grab your left foot. Bring the heel in. And then again, if you feel flexible enough, maybe turn the fingers forwards. Soften the shoulder, maybe even lift off the right elbow. Again, continue to drive the knee back, but the foot in. lengthen the tailbone, pull the belly in. And then slide your hand to that ankle joint instead. Flex the left foot, press the foot back, and then lift the thigh up. Contract, maybe hover the right arm. Good. Keep the belly engaged. Keep the navel pulling in. One more big breath before releasing your right hand, releasing your left leg, and then sliding your left hand to the back of your right thigh and continuing to lift up. And we want to combine this twisting sensation with this back bending sensation so we may really access this mid-thoracic spine. Come back to the center. Bring your hands closer to your hips, come to seal. Lift yourself up, but micro bend your elbows so you never lock the elbows fully out. Good. And then release all the way down onto your forehead. Press your sit bones to the heels and then lift up to sit on your shins. Good. You'll take your hands to your lower back and then lift up as if you were coming into camel. Tuck your toes just so there's a little more space. Good. And then here, think about activating the front of your abdomen and pressing your hips forwards. Keep your right arm as it is. Lift your left arm up and then come into half camel. Stretch back. Take a big breath before dropping your left hand to your lower back. Other side, right arm up and over. Just start feeling the sensation of moving from the hips. Good. And then the other side, left arm up. Good. Mouth is relaxed. Belly drives forwards. Hips extend forwards and upwards. Good. Last time. If this feels good, continue just like this. This for some people is going to feel amazing, and that's great, stay there. If it doesn't feel like enough, maybe the next time you come to the left side, the left hand actually comes to the left ankle. You just use that resistance of pressing into the left ankle to move a little bit deeper. Good. Inhale, the left arm can come back up, and then take it back. Good. Good, and then lift the left arm up, make it the last time, and then take it back. Good, inhale back up. You can take your left hand to your lower back, and then this time the right arm reaches up and back to the ankle. And again, if it just feels good to stay on the lower back the whole time, then just do that. Otherwise, two more like this. Inhale, half camel. Good, and then exhale, take it back. Good, make this the last one. Good, and then from here, you can stay, or you can also release your left hand coming into camel. Pull the pubic bone in, lengthen the hip bones, hug the rib cage forward, soften through your mouth, one more big breath. Contract your belly, reach the arms forwards, come to downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, extend your right leg, three-legged dog. And then bring your right shin forwards into pigeon. Good, press down, lengthen through the sides of the waist. Press into your right hand and then bend your left knee and reach back for your left foot. Good, bring the heel towards the bum. Extend the shoulder back, breathe into the side of the waist. So I'm just gonna actually show you with a strap, just because some of us that want to move deeper will really need a little bit of support from the strap, and that's perfectly dead. Here's one if I found out. Good, so we're using this infinity strap, which is really easy to use because it's already shaped, ready for your foot. But if you don't have this, you can use a regular strap and just tie a knot at the bottom. So from here, you'll take your strap around your foot, and then you'll take the other half of your strap into your hand. From here, you pull back with your elbow, and then you start to draw a big circle as if you could squeeze your elbow forwards and up, and then anywhere that you need to stop on the way, you do so. Soften your shoulder, lift your left elbow up, find this resistance, soften through your mouth, And then over time, maybe it feels more comfortable to gently bring the foot closer and closer. This is going to take a huge amount of flexibility, not only in your hamstring and your back, but your shoulder and your belly and your hip flexor. Over time, you'll walk the hand closer and closer, and maybe as Letty can hear, eventually you'll grab the foot. This might take a long time. This is a really advanced asana, so don't try to become too attached with how long that's going to take. Now, eventually, once you feel stable, you might lift the second arm and also challenge your balance. Good, perfect. And then when you're ready, release. Try not to release with a ping, just release legs one at a time. And just to reset, release the back leg and fold yourself forwards. Lengthen the skin of your belly, lengthen the arms. Good, press into the palms, tuck your left toes, come to downward facing dog. And then when you're ready, take the left leg forwards into pigeon. The sides feel particularly different when accessing these kind of postures, because it's not only the difference between just one muscle, this is the difference between a whole heap of corresponding muscles that need to work together to integrate in order to get into an asana posture. So you can see a considerable difference sometimes between sides, so don't be alarmed. You can bend your right knee. First, just bring it in, take hold of it with the right foot and just hug it as if you were hugging it into like a frog position. Just help us stretch the quad. And then from here, you can take the strap around your foot, soften through your mouth, soften through the jaw, but take hold. The elbow comes forwards, 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 and then maybe reaches up. And then over time, maybe you want to walk the hand in and maybe it grabs the foot. And then maybe in time you want to challenge your balance and maybe bring the left arm to join. Okay, keep pulling that right hip forwards, breathe into the back body. One more big breath. And then release the hands, come down into sleeping swan, full pigeon. So you can, try all of these exercises. These exercises are really to help us find that integration of the entirety of the body, but also to help us use our flexibility and our strength simultaneously to work towards one goal. But don't just expect to go through them once and maybe be able to get straight into the goalpost pose that we're working towards. That it can take not only repeating these videos and other exercises, for a really long time. Try not to get too attached to them, because that's how we create disappointment within our practice, that we create these goals that are not always achievable, at least immediately or in the short term. It's kind of a really good way of sucking the joy out of your practice. So instead, just try to enjoy them and try to enjoy the entirety of the journey rather than just the destination. I know that's a really typical yoga thing to say, but it's true, unfortunately. Press into your hands, come to downward facing dog. And you can always come back to those twists that we did before just to alleviate any tension or compression that may have occurred. So eventually we want to be back bending, not really from the flexibility of the back, but by using the support network of the strength of our hamstrings and our glutes and our back muscles and the flexibility of the hip flexors, the belly and the shoulders. So it's like we back bend from using the front plane of the body. So you're working towards no compression in the lower back, but I know that you say that, but I myself have experienced compression because I've continuously back bended. So I know that it does happen. So if that does happen, just as long as you stretch it out at the end and work towards a practice that doesn't have that. And then come onto your knees, take the shins to the side and come down onto your back. And then lengthen your legs forwards. And then lift your left leg up, take your hands behind your left hamstring and just use this as a stretch, kind of as a these two traction kind of opposing forces pulling away to pull your tailbone towards your right heel, the head forwards, and use the leg almost as a weight to lengthen through your back body. You can walk your hands towards your ankle if you're more flexible. And then release and come to the other side. Take the hand behind the thigh, and then if you're feeling more flexible, you might walk the hand up higher. And just using this to help compress or extend your back body, using a little bit of weight of the hamstring of the leg to use this opposing force to pull out of the sacrum. Then bring your left leg to meet your right. Take both hands behind your calves, behind your thighs. Bringing both legs up, good. And then taking your hands behind, and then just using that again, this extension, just to feel a stretch on your lower back. Letty is particularly flexible, so don't be too upset if it doesn't look like this. And then gently lift yourself up. Just stack your ankles on top of your hips. Release your shoulders. And we'll finish here in this inversion, essentially. If you find it difficult just balancing the weight of your legs on top of your hips like this, move yourself to the wall and just take your legs against the wall, and it's the exact same. Just use the support network of the wall. Otherwise, we're just letting the blood flush down through the backs of the hamstrings, just so that when we get back up, we can allow fresh blood and oxygen to regenerate and re-energize through the hamstrings. They've worked really hard for us, so it's nice to give them a little bit of love, a little bit of decompression. Just spend a few breaths here. And obviously, if you're practicing at home, you can take like the longest, best Savasana you've ever taken. Letty doesn't get that luxury. And whenever you're ready, you can just finish. So you can just pause, turn it off, lay down on your back, take a hot salt bath, get back on with your day, whatever is going on. Otherwise, if you're with us, you can come and bring yourself, bending the knees, come bring yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Just finishing our practice here together, thanking yourself, your body, for everything that it's done, all the amazing things that it does for you. Thank you, Letty. Namaste.